like to call our keynote speakers. Our first keynote speaker is Mr. Sudeep Somani, who is working with ThoughtWorks for last 7 years. He has played a QA role for quite long. Now he is in operations team as well as he's looking at the staffing for ThoughtWorks India. So can I have
Our second keynote speaker is Mrs. Gunjan Shukla. She has been with ThoughtWorks for about 6-7 years now. She has been a part of the industry for almost 13 years. She has played various roles, including being a dev, being a BA, a people champion, and now she's the general manager of ThoughtWorks Pune.
Cool. Can you guys hear me? Cool, perfect. So when Ritika asked me to do this keynote, breaking boundaries, I was very intrigued. Wanted to know what that means for us as professionals. What is the industry around us is changing like, and how do we react to it? But it seems that nature is also kind of complying with us. November mid, raining all night, all day. So it's breaking boundaries itself, right? When you talk about breaking boundaries coming back to us, right, we are currently looking at something very different. I mean, when we go back before my time as well, she said 13 years, I'm already feeling old, but when you go back, right, around 50 years, 53 years back, when actually television was introduced for the first time, to reach a critical mass, it took around 50 years for television to reach a critical mass. Mobile actually took almost half the time, phone or mobile, so to say, right? It took around 25 years to reach critical mass as such. Internet took around 7 years, Facebook around 2 years, and WhatsApp has taken to reach the same critical mass for less than a year. That's how quickly technology, that's how quickly trends are changing around us. We don't necessarily are in the same era that we were, especially when I started my career, where things were stable, things were, as they were, and we were supposed to just pick up things from the past and deliver them. Right now, we're in an era where we have to react, we have to change, we have to look at things very differently, and we have to kind of learn every day and react on that same thing. So let me take you through certain things, right? I mean, what does it mean to be in the post-digital era? It means that we have to reframe our assumptions. It means that we have to figure out a way of saying that this is not the same thing that we were looking at in the past, right? So, any guesses how many smartphone users across the globe at this point of time? Random guesses? 2 billion? Any more? 3 billion. There are around 4.5 billion smartphone customers across the globe at this point of time. And they're expected to double in the next 6 months. So they're going to be around 9 billion users, smartphone users, based on the Xiaomi's that are coming in and Apple's iPhone 6s and all of those launches. Based on some studies, it's going to be doubling in the next 6 months or so. Obviously, customer demands on all of us are increasing as businesses. They want more and more. They want a more personalized experience, right, everywhere they go. Customers, all of us as customers want a personalized experience. When we go to a shop, when we go look at their app, when we go, to a Facebook page, we expect things to be personalized and customized for us. So demands are increasing more and more on us as such, right? Some statistics for you guys to look at. For a continent like Asia, where you have 1.6 billion users who do not have billion people actually, who do not have a basic bank account. But 2.6 billion customers actually have a mobile phone. That's the kind of era that we are looking at. India is not very different from this particular thing, right? There are only 9 million people in India that have a basic bank account, but almost similar number, 1 billion or something like that, close to 1 billion people who have a mobile phone. Africa as a continent actually skipped through the entire era of PC, right? As a continent, they are in the mobile era right now. They have more mobile phone users. M-Pesa is more popular there than anywhere else in the globe. They are doing banking, they are doing money transactions on the phone. And Africa is actually kind of surpassed most of the continents in that. One more damning fact. In 2011, United Nations declared internet as a basic human right. So this is here to stay. This is not going to go away, right? We have to figure out a way of saying that, okay, fine, these things are here, and we have to react to it. We have to figure out a way of getting past this. So what is post-digital, right? What is post-digital, and why should we be bothered about it, right? As professionals, as somebody who's developing, who's testing, who's talking to the business, even a business, right? Why should we be bothered about it? Because it's changing. It's changing the way we think about stuff. It's changing the way our customers are thinking about it. It's changing the way we have to now develop applications and put it into production. The increasing pace, right? I mean, the pace that I talk about. Now, anything that needs to reach critical mass, it's a matter of months, not years, right? That you actually need to be doing it. So it's putting a lot of pressure on business, technology, and the customers to come together. These things, which is called as, there's a short form called SMAC, social, mobile, cloud, analytics, is basically saying that, okay, fine, they're fusing the boundaries. Again, going back to the theme, breaking boundaries, they're fusing the boundaries and unleashing a plethora of opportunities onto how we can reach our customers. And we're going to be just taking a couple of minutes to go through all of these to see how they're changing the lives of our customers, and for us as professionals to kind of reach out to our customers. Again, a question. How many people in this room have a smartphone? Almost all. How many people have an iPad or another connected device? Quite a lot. Facebook account, Twitter account. So you see, right? I mean, we are living in that world of us as individuals, as the customers of this whole technology world, that we are hyper connected. We're no longer connected to one device. Maybe all of you are connected to multiple devices at the same time. There is that need of seeing what is happening in the world to be connected all the time. So we are going from saying a paper era to telephone era to internet era to actually now coming up to the hyper-connected world of augmented reality as well, right? Internet of Things is something that is coming up really, really fast here. We're talking about having bands that tell you how good you have slept in the night, how your future's, how your day is going to be. Google Glass is picking up a lot of steam, and they are looking at doing other things as well. That's the kind of world that we're looking at from a mobility perspective, right? Mobility is no longer about mobile. Mobility is about a plethora of devices that you have, right? And the expectation of the customer to be having a consistent experience across the devices. And that poses a different challenge for us altogether, right? And it's basically that always-on access, saying that, okay, fine, if I've done something on my mobile, it should reflect on my pad, it should reflect when I go to Facebook, it should reflect in my Twitter account. Everything is at an expectation. It's a basic expectation now. It's not something that people expect as a luxury. So what does it mean for us from a testing perspective, right? It means that we have to have the access to all of these devices to be able to think differently, right? I mean, you have to be able to figure out a way of saying that, okay, fine, this application needs to work on a different, a plethora of devices. Obviously, Android has come up with, I don't know how many, hundreds of devices. There is obviously different screen sizes that you have to kind of test towards, and different things that you have to think about when you're testing about mobility applications. The good news is that the customers are hyper-connected. The bad news is that they are, because that's how you have to serve them. When being hyper-connected actually comes into picture, one of the things that you need to do, like I was saying, right, they need access to the same information across different devices. Cloud comes into picture. Cloud is again a big buzzword nowadays, right? Everything is on cloud. Why? Because there are certain aspects of cloud that we all know, right? It's basically less cost intensive. It's agile. It's basically saying that, okay, fine, we have things like infrastructure as a service, software as a service, business process as a service, which are becoming quite buzzwords now, right? It's nothing new that we're looking at this point of time. But the kind of complexity that it takes to have an application on the cloud and to test it, to make sure that it's actually working is a huge challenge for all of us. Just to give you again some statistics, this is the number of applications that will be on cloud, according to the World Quality Report, that will be on cloud by 2015. So 26% of all applications is going to be on cloud. But you see the projected spend on cloud testing. From 2012, it had dipped down to 24% in 2013, and it's going up again in 2015. The reason for the dip being the complexity, the effectiveness, the lack of tools that we actually had in that particular last 2 years on cloud testing. But again, according to what business says, this is here to stay. It's going to go up. It's not going to go down. So we better be prepared for that. We actually have Kaleidoscope, Ritika and, the sort of actually asked you to tweet about us all the time. So we need to be connected socially all the time, right? Businesses are also using the social media to reach out to their customers. Every business today is using Facebook, Foursquare, Twitter to reach out to their customers, to take feedback from them, to change the way they're doing business, and to look at, what we can do. If you've noticed, I mean, there is that news piece that came in last week, I think. Sapient has been acquired by Publicis, right? I mean, so in terms of how, it's a big statement in my mind, because you're saying that a technology company needs to have that, the basic reason why Sapient was acquired was the Nitro piece, which is basically the UX UI piece that Sapient has. So in my mind, the technology and the user experience and the UI part of it is actually getting fused. We have to think like the customer interaction designs, the customer, how he interacts with your mobile application, your website, etc., needs to be now defined very, very closely. It needs to be tested. You need to think like the customer, right? There are different personas that will use your application, your mobile devices and everything, right? You'll need to think like a 16-year-old. You'll need to think like a 35-year-old. You need to think like the people that are going to be using that application. It just gives a different dimension to the entire testing space altogether. We have to, it's just increasing the complexity. The order of complexity is increasing, right? Because we have to now think not just about the devices, but how interaction will be done on different devices as well. With mobile, cloud, and social, the amount of data that is being collected, right? It's something that analytics comes naturally into picture for, right? And then I add to it Moore's law, which says technology is going to become cheaper and cheaper by the day. It's not going to go it's not going to be more expensive, but it's going to be cheaper. So it's going to be easier to store data. It's going to be easier to connect. It's going to be easier to put applications on the cloud, right? So what do you do about all of the data that you're collecting, right? Big data is becoming a big thing right now. Big data is like basically storing everything. Everything that you do is being stored somewhere, right? To give you an example, last week I looked at a laptop table in Pepperfry, just because I wanted to buy it. And ever since, that ad has been following me wherever I go. Whether I go to Facebook, whether I go to Gmail, whether I go to my Twitter account, that ad space that you have somewhere there, it's actually following you, right? So they are actually tracking stuff, saying that, okay, fine, you looked at it, why don't you buy it, right? There'll be offers on it, there'll be mails on it. The businesses are using that data to actually kind of, interact with the customer in a very, very different way. But with that also comes two things in my mind, right? One is privacy and security concerns. I don't want to be followed. If I want to buy the table, I will buy the table. I don't want you to tell me 10 times that I want to buy the table. So that is becoming one of the biggest concerns enterprises have. And security testing is becoming extremely important. I don't want NSA to look at what I'm looking at, what I'm not looking at, what places I'm visiting, what places I'm not visiting. But that's happening today. And enterprises more and more are looking at saying that how can we make our customers' data more and more private? How can we make it secure? How can we make it hacker-proof? So QAs specifically need to figure out a way of getting into that hacker mindset and going into security testing in a different way altogether. It's also about performance testing, right? We're not talking about gigabytes anymore. I mean, I have now started looking at petabytes as a normal thing, right? I mean, you have data centers in the US which span acres and acres of land which are just storing data. So that's the kind of data size we're looking at. Performance testing is becoming a huge thing in the market right now. That's what we are hearing from our customers. All of these 4 trends are making it, it's fusing together. It's not one thing, right? All of the businesses, whether you talk about banking, whether you talk about retail, whether you talk about insurance, media, all of these trends are actually fusing together. So it's not like you'll have an analytics piece which will not have a social component, which will not have a mobile component, and which will not have a cloud component as such. It might be that all 4 of us, 4 of them are in a particular business, and you'll have to think from all directions to actually kind of tackle that problem. So here, I'll take a break and probably give it to Sudeep as to what is changing in the testing world and how are we planning to address that. Thanks.